Namaste everyone and welcome to Astro Grahalogy. Today we are starting chapter 1 of our Learn Astrology series. In Vedic astrology, your Kundali is like a map of your life. The zodiac signs show how your energy works. The planets show who is acting, but the houses show where that energy is playing out in your actual life. In this chapter, we will go through all the houses one by one. I will explain what each house represents, which areas of life it covers, how it feels when the house is strong, and what challenges may come when it is weak or afflicted. So, if you have your birth chart with you, keep it in front of you and just follow along. Even if you are a complete beginner, by the end of this video, you will have a solid understanding of what each house in your Kundali is trying to tell you. Let's begin with the most important starting point, the first house, that is you yourself. First house, the house is called Lagna or Ascendant. This is where everything begins. If the Kundli is your life story, the first house is the main character, that is, you. Imagine you enter a room full of people. Before you speak, before anyone knows your sign, your moons, your past, they just see your face, body language, and the vibe. That first impression is very first house energy. The sign placed in the first house shows how you express yourself. The planet that rules that sign is called your Lagna Lord, and it becomes extremely important in your life. It is considered one of the most important houses because it refers to the very beginning of our existence and the early environment of our life. Our happiness and interests are governed by this house. The first house represents the person we are going on to become. It influences how we will evolve both from within and from outside. It governs our presentation to the world, approach to life, demeanor, essential abilities, and basic sensibilities. It is like a window to your general outlook to life, which has a lot to do with the choices you make, which in turn affect the future course of events. When someone looks at you and thinks that this person seems calm or this person looks very energetic and bold, they are responding to your Lagna or first house energy. But it's not only about looks. The first house also shows your inner orientation in life. Are you someone who rushes into experiences? Do you observe quietly before acting? Are you confident, hesitant, sensitive, or practical? All of these is colored by the sign and the planets connected to your first house. When the first house is strong and well supported, it often gives good health, a strong sense of self, and a clear life direction. You feel like, yes, this is who I am, and you move with more confidence. If the first house is weak or heavily afflicted by malefic planets, a person may struggle with self doubt, with body image issues, or with health concerns, especially in early part of life. There can be confusion about identity, a feeling of I am not sure who I really am or how I should present myself. For example, let's talk about some planets. If Mars has a strong influence on the first house, the person might be bold, energetic, action oriented, maybe even a bit aggressive or competitive, which is the energy of Mars. If Venus influences the first house, the person might be charming, artistic, attractive, and have a natural desire for relationships and beauty. If you have Moon placed in first house, then you have a very open and expressive personality. On a deeper level, the first house also shows your entry into this life, the body, the personality your soul has chosen to work through in this lifetime. That's why any planet sitting in the first house leaves a very strong stamp on your entire life experiences. We will discuss in the next chapters about planets, different planets in every houses. So, the first house is all about who am I? Now, let's move to the second house, which answers what do I have? Second house, house of wealth and values. The second house represents what you call yours. It signifies your early family environment, the family you were born into, the comfort or discomfort of your upbringing, and the emotional imprint your childhood leaves on you. This house governs wealth and possessions, not just physical money, but also the values you hold, the things you consider important, and the sense of security you derive from them. The second house also rules your speech, the way you speak, the power your words carry, and how your voice influences the world. A well placed second house gives pleasant communication, financial stability, and strong family bonds. However, a challenged second house can indicate financial fluctuations, strained relationships with family members, or a harsh way of speaking that may unintentionally hurt others. This house also governs your relationship with food, your eating habits, and your ability to nourish yourself. Ultimately, the second house shows the foundation of your self worth, both material and emotional, shaping your attitude towards money, possessions, and the family you come from. Soon after birth, you become conscious of yourself. You slowly become aware of your family, your home environment, the food you're fed, and the sounds and words you hear. All of this is the second house territory. The second house represents your early family life, especially the environment you grew up in as a child. Was it warm, loving, and emotionally secure? Or was it tense, critical, or unstable? The planets in the second house can describe how supported or challenged you felt in your family of origin. For example, an influence of Jupiter or Venus in this house could make you quite rich, but can also result in overindulgence in food or accumulation of unnecessary things. The second house represents your voice and throat. Venus or Moon in this house could mean that you have a good voice. Sun in this house could mean that your voice carries a lot of weight, authority, and so on. It is also the house of wealth and possessions, not just money in the bank account, but all that you accumulate over time. Your savings, your investments, your jewelry, your sense of financial security. Another very important part of the second house is speech. This house rules your voice, your tone, and the way you use your words. A strong second house can give a pleasant, charming speech, a good singing voice, or the ability to inspire and influence others through words. An afflicted second house can show harsh words, sarcastic tones, or problems caused by what you say. It also connects to food and nourishment. What you like to eat, how you relate to food, whether you overeat or undereat, or use food for comfort. All of these can be seen from this house. On a deeper level, the second house shows your values. What is important to you? Do you value money above all, or family, or security, or knowledge? Your definition of wealth is often reflected here. When the second house is strong, a person can build good financial foundations, enjoy a supportive family, and use their speech positively and powerfully. When it is weak, there may be financial ups and downs, family tensions, or trouble caused by uncontrolled speech. So, the first house says, "This is who I am." The second house says, "This is what I have and what I value." From here, life moves to the third house, which talks about effort, courage, and communication. Third house, house of communication and siblings. The third house focuses on communication, courage, and the relationship with siblings, highlighting its significance within the houses of the zodiac. It reveals how you convey your ideas, your curiosity, and how you handle new experiences. It also encompasses skills, adaptability, and intellectual pursuits. The third house is the house of action and effort. It shows how you move out into the world with your ideas, how bravely you act, and how you use your mind and hands to create. This house is strongly connected with courage. Not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward in spite of fear. When the third house is strong, you will find it easier to take initiatives, to say, "I will try," to start new projects, to learn new skills, and to keep going even when things become challenging. It also rules communication. Speaking, writing, messaging, social media, phone calls, emails, presentations, and all forms of expressing your thoughts. In today's world, this house is very prominent for content creators, writers, speakers, marketers, influencers, and anyone whose work involves regular communication. The third house also governs younger siblings and sometimes cousins and neighbors. It describes your relationship with them, whether you feel supported, competitive, or perhaps distant and disconnected. Hobbies and skills are also linked to this house, especially things done with the hands like art, crafts, instruments, drawing, writing, anything that requires practice and repetition. When the third house is weak or troubled, a person may hesitate a lot, feel shy or fearful about new experiences, avoid speaking up, or feel that they lack the skills they need. They might have ideas, but they lack the confidence to share them across. If your planets, such as Jupiter or Venus, sits in this house, then you have a gift of words and flair for the language. If your Mercury sits in this house, then you are extremely smart at making conversations or happen to know different languages, and so on. Lastly, this house also deals with self effort. So, if you have planets such as Saturn or Mars in this house, be rest assured you will be a self made person. The third house reminds you that while destiny is one thing, your effort is equally very important. It asks, how willing are you to try? How committed are you to developing your talents? So, after identity in the first house and resources in the second house, the third house is where you pick up your tools and say, let me go out and do something. Once you step out into the world, you need a place to return to a place that feels like home. That is the fourth house. Fourth house, house of home and family. The fourth house is the heart of the chart. It represents your home, the home that you build, your emotional base, and your deepest sense of comfort and belonging. This house is closely connected to your mother or the main nurturing figure in your life, the one who played the role of emotional caretaker. The condition of the fourth house can describe how nurturing, supportive, or challenging the relationship may have been. The fourth house rules your home environment, the kind of house you live in, whether you prefer quiet, peaceful spaces or busy, lively homes. It also relates to property, land, real estate, and vehicles, the physical comforts that give a sense of security. At a deeper level, the fourth house is about inner peace. Where do you go emotionally when you want to feel safe? What makes you feel at home, not just outside but inside your heart? When the fourth house is strong, people often have a supportive base, good early education, emotional grounding, and a home environment that nourishes them. They can create comforting spaces for themselves and others. When the fourth house is weak or afflicted, there may be emotional restlessness, a feeling of not truly belonging anywhere, tensions with the mother or within the home, frequent changes of residence, and inner anxiety that is hard to understand. If your fourth house is well placed, you will be lucky to start a family and settle down early in life. The fourth house also determines your relationship with your mother, so if there is an influence of Mars or Rahu in this house, then your relationship suffers. If there is, say, Jupiter in this house, then your mother is your guiding force in life, and so on. We can think of the fourth house as your emotional roots. If the roots are strong, the tree can grow tall and stable. If the roots are disturbed, the tree may always feel shaky no matter how successful it looks on the outside. From the emotional security of the fourth house, we move to the fifth house, which is about joy, creativity, and everything that flows from the heart. Fifth house, house of creativity and children. The fifth house is a house of delight. The fifth house represents creativity, self expression, romance, and relationships with children. It also relates to intellectual pursuits, education, and past life merits, showcasing how these factors fit into the astrology house's meaning. This house shows how you create, whether it is through art, music, writing, performance, or simply through the energy you bring into the world. It is your inner child, the part of you that wants to play, to imagine, to dream, and to express without fear or judgment. The fifth house is also strongly connected to children. It can describe your relationship with your own children, the joy and challenges you may experience through them, and the emotional bond that you share. If you don't have children, this house still shows the things you give birth to, like the ideas, projects, and creations. It also has a link with romance and love affairs, not the serious, committed partnership of the seventh house, but the more playful, romantic, heart fluttering experiences of love. The fifth house is considered a house of intelligence and learning. It shows how you approach study, how easily you grasp concepts, and how creatively you solve problems. Many talented artists, performers, teachers, and investors have a strong fifth house. In Vedic astrology, this house is also seen as the house of Purva Punya, blessings from past lives. Talents that seem to appear naturally in a person are often linked to a strong fifth house. Good luck in education, support through children, or success in speculation and investments can all be the signs of this. Whether the fifth house is weak or troubled, a person may feel blocked creatively, struggle with joy, face challenges related to children, or find it hard to relax and play. For example, Venus in the fifth house suggests a love for romance and artistic talent, while Saturn can indicate a struggle with emotional expression and a more serious approach to love and joy. Mars may point to a passionate but impulsive approach to creativity, whereas Jupiter can bring warmth and love for creativity and self expression in this house. So, the fifth house asks, what brings you joy? What do you love creating? What makes your heart feel alive? From this joyful expression, life also reminds us that we must handle responsibilities, health, duties, and challenges. That takes us to the sixth house. Sixth house, house of health and service. The sixth house is where we meet the realities and struggles of everyday life. It represents your daily work, your health, your responsibilities, and the challenges you must face and overcome. This is the house of service, the work you do on a regular basis, your routine, your habits, how you handle deadlines, and how you respond to the problems. All of these fall under the sixth house. A career as a doctor, a surgeon, a healer, a lawyer, a banker, a public servant, a social worker, or a profession that involves dealing with hostile situations such as a police officer, a prison guard, a soldier, or dealing with competition such as a sports person or a lawyer is seen from this house. It also rules health, especially the kind of diseases or imbalances you may be prone to. The sixth house does not guarantee illness, but it shows where you must be more careful, how your body reacts to stress, and how you can improve your well being through discipline and better habits. The sixth house also represents enemies, obstacles, and competition. These may not always be dramatic enemies, but they can be the people or situations that challenge you, criticize you, or push you to grow stronger. Debts, loans, legal disputes, and conflicts in the workplace are also seen from this house. When the sixth house is strong, a person has the strength to face all the problems. They don't give up easily. They work hard, they handle stress better, and even if they fall sick, they often have the willpower to recover. They can succeed in the fields where challenges are constant, like medicine, law, military, human resources, healing, or any role that involves solving issues. When the sixth house is weak or heavily afflicted, there may be repeated health issues, difficulties with co workers, ongoing debts or legal problems, or a feeling of being overburdened and underappreciated. For example, let's see if sun is placed in this house, it can indicate responsibility and a need for recognition through one's work. If Mercury is in this house, this placement is often considered fortunate as it can indicate a thriving work life and success in communication or healing professions. Mars placed in this house can be a strong placement, giving a need for physical activity and making one feel most alive when working hard. Saturn implies a need for discipline in work and routines, potentially making a person feel confined by them while also providing perseverance. Spiritually, this house teaches us that growth often comes through struggle. It asks, how do you respond when life becomes difficult? Do you take responsibility, serve, and improve? Or do you run away, complain, or give up? After learning to face battles in the sixth house, we move into the seventh house, where life brings us into deep contact with other people. Seventh house, house of partnerships and marriage. The seventh house is the house of partnerships. If the first house is me, the seventh house is you. It sits directly opposite to the ascendant or the first house, reminding us that we are not alone. Our life is deeply influenced by the people we join hands with. The seventh house is the most famous for representing marriage and the life partner. It shows the kind of spouse you attract, the qualities they may have, and the lessons you are meant to learn through relationships. But It also covers business partnerships, collaborations, agreements, contracts, and the way you interact with others on an equal footing. This is not a house of authority or dominance, but of balance and mutual exchange. When the seventh house is strong, a person is likely to enjoy supportive partnerships, whether in marriage or business. They can cooperate, compromise, and build together. They may attract responsible, stable partners who help them grow. When the seventh house is weak or afflicted, there may be delays in marriage, misunderstandings, conflicts, on and off relationships, or even separation and divorce. The person may struggle to find the right one or may have unrealistic expectations from their partners. Let's see how different planets work in this house. If Sun is placed in the seventh house, it creates a strong desire to shine within a partnership, with ego and leadership playing a significant role. Mercury in this house suggests a strong focus on communication and mental connection, making curiosity and intellectual pursuits important in relationships. Venus in this house signifies a strong emphasis on romance, beauty, and harmony in relationships. Jupiter here can bring good fortune, luck, and a desire for adventure and expansion in partnerships. Saturn in this house suggests that the relationships will be a source of significant lessons, challenges, and a need for discipline and responsibility. On a deeper level, the seventh house acts like a mirror. Often, the qualities we attract in a partner are the qualities we are trying to develop or integrate within ourselves. If you attract a very responsible partners, life may be asking you to become more responsible too. If you attract very emotional or very detached partners, there may be something in your emotional patterns that is seeking balance. So, the seventh house teaches about love, compromise, equality, and reflection. After meeting others so deeply, life then takes us into the realm of unseen and the intense through the eighth house. Eighth house, house of transformation and mysteries. The eighth house is one of the most mysterious houses in Vedic astrology. It deals with all that is hidden, intense, and transformative. This house is connected with sudden events, deep emotional experiences, crisis, death and rebirth, and the secrets that lie beneath the surface of life. It governs joint finances, such as money received from inheritance, insurance, or through marriage and business partnerships. It shows how you handle shared resources and the karmic lessons connected with them. The eighth house is also the house of occult, astrology, tantra, mysticism, and the desire to understand the hidden workings of the universe. People with strong eighth house are often drawn to psychology, healing, energy work, and spiritual sciences. When the eighth house is used well, it gives the power to transform. These individuals can survive intense hardships, reinvent themselves after crisis, and understand the deeper truths of life. They are often the ones who hold space for others in their pain, who can guide people through dark phases of life. When the eighth house is weak or heavily afflicted, there may be emotional instability, a tendency towards fear or obsession, sudden ups and downs, or complicated dynamics with in laws or shared finances. When Sun is placed in this house, it may indicate a sudden shift in self image or reputation, bringing both challenge and opportunity. If Moon is placed here, it can point to emotional depth, mood swings, and anxieties related to loss or insecurity. If Jupiter is placed here, it can bring the potential for inheritances and can indicate a path of spiritual development. If Mercury is placed in the eighth house, it provides a talent for research and investigation, but may also lead to overthinking, worry, and anxiety. If Saturn is placed in this house, it can delay or strain relationships, including marriage, and might require a lot of effort to achieve goals. Spiritually, the eighth house asks you to face your shadows, your fears, insecurities, attachments, and unresolved pain. It invites you into transformation, saying, to grow, something old must die, an old pattern, an old identity, an old wound. From this deep, intense transformation, we move to the ninth house, where we search for meaning, guidance, and higher truth. Ninth house, house of philosophy and higher learning. The ninth house is the house of dharma, your higher purpose, your belief systems, and your connection with something greater than yourself. It represents religion, spirituality, philosophy, ethics, and the principles that guide your decisions. It also rules gurus, teachers, mentors, and father like figures who show you the direction in life. The ninth house is associated with fortune and luck, not just random luck, but blessings arising from past life merits and good actions. When this house is strong, we often see people receiving timely help, good guidance, and opportunities that support their growth. This house also governs long distance travel and foreign experiences. Journeys to distant places that expand your mind and change your perspective are strongly linked to the ninth house. Higher education, deep study, research, academic growth, and the pursuit of knowledge for wisdom rather than just for survival also connects here. When the ninth house is strong, a person may feel guided, protected, and aligned with a sense of purpose. They may have strong moral values and a desire to live truthfully and ethically. When the ninth house is weak or afflicted, There can be confusion about belief systems, conflicts with teachers or father figures, struggles with faith, or a sense of being lost, not knowing what path to follow. If Sun is placed in this house, there is a strong desire for education and a natural leadership ability in philosophical or teaching capacities. If Moon is placed in this house, the person is emotionally invested in activities like travel, study, and spiritual practices. If Venus is placed in this house, the person shows an appreciation for aesthetics, art, and beauty in different cultures and belief systems. The person may also enjoy partnerships with people from diverse backgrounds and have a soft spot for faraway places. If Jupiter is placed in this house, it is a highly beneficial placement that indicates good fortune, wisdom, and spiritual progress. If Saturn is placed in this house, the person may have a serious and disciplined approach to higher education and one's spiritual or ethical beliefs. The ninth house gently asks, what do you believe in? What gives your life meaning? What principles will you stand by even when things are difficult? From here, we move to the 10th house, where all these learning and purpose take concrete form in the outer world. 10th house, house of career and social status. The 10th house is the house of karma in a very practical sense. Your work, your career, and your public life. It shows what you are known for in society, your profession, your achievements, and how you interact with authority and responsibility. This is the highest point in the chart representing your visible contribution to the world. While the fourth house represents your private life, the 10th house represents your public life, who you are out there in the eyes of others. When the 10th house is strong, a person often has clear ambition, a good sense of direction, and the ability to achieve recognition in their chosen field. They may hold positions of authority, lead teams, or become experts in their domain. The kind of career you are drawn can often be seen by looking at the 10th house, the sign placed there, the planets occupying it, and the aspects they receive. When the 10th house is weak or troubled, there may be career instability, frequent job changes, conflicts with bosses or government, or difficulty in finding a satisfying professional path. If Moon is placed in this house, it can bring fame but may also cause challenges or moodiness depending on its condition. If Mars is placed in this house, it can bring both ambition and obstacles, but also a drive to succeed through action and conflict. If Jupiter is placed in this house, it can bring success, prestige, and opportunities through your career path. If Mercury is placed in this house, it influences communication and career, making for successful public relations or writing. If Saturn is associated with this house, it shows hard work, responsibility, and a career that develops more slowly over time. Success often comes later in life after hard work and discipline. This house asks most important questions like: how do you want to serve the world? What kind of work gives you a sense of accomplishment? What legacy do you want to leave behind? After understanding our role in the world, the chart moves to the 11th house, which speaks about the rewards, gains, and networks that come from our actions. 11th house, house of gains and friendships. The 11th house is the house of gains and fulfillment. It represents the rewards you receive for your efforts, the income you earn from your work, and the support you receive from friends and networks. This house is strongly linked to financial gains, profits, bonuses, and the success that comes when your efforts pay off. It also governs friendships, social circles, communities, and associations. The kind of people you attract as friends, the quality of your social network, and how supported you feel by your community can all be seen from the 11th house. In the modern world, this house is also connected with social media audiences, followers, large groups, and collective platforms, especially where you reach many people at once. The 11th house speaks of your long term hopes and dreams, not just small daily desires, but the bigger versions you hold for your life, the kind of success, impact, and fulfillment you secretly wish for. When the 11th house is strong, a person often has good income, strong friendships, beneficial contacts, and the ability to realize their long term goals. When it is weak or afflicted, there can be fluctuating income, disappointments in friendships, wrong associations, or delays in the fulfillment of desires. If Moon is placed in this house, the person finds emotional satisfaction through friendships and group participation. If Mars is placed in this house, it brings energy, passion, and determination to group activities and objectives. If Saturn is placed in this house, it creates a sense of responsibility, discipline, and a desire for long term stable friendships. It can also bring significant gains and wish fulfillment, but may cause delays or challenges if afflicted. This house gently reminds you that we do not succeed alone. We are supported, uplifted, and sometimes tested by the people we surround ourselves with. And finally, after earning, gaining, connecting, and fulfilling desires, we come to the 12th house, the house of release, spirituality, and surrender. 12th house, house of subconscious and moksha. The 12th house is the final step in the cycle of the chart. It represents endings, completion, and the dissolving of boundaries. This house governs losses and expenses, but in a spiritual sense, these are not only negative, they are also the things you let go of in order to grow. Old habits, attachments, ego patterns, and things that no longer serve your soul. The 12th house rules foreign lands and distant places, as well as hospitals, ashrams, retreat centers, prisons, and secluded spaces. It is connected to periods of isolation where you are away from the outer noise and forced to look within. It also governs sleep, dreams, the subconscious mind, and intuition. Your dream world, your hidden fears, your secret desires, and your spiritual impressions live here. When the 12th house is strong and well directed, it can give deep spiritual insight, strong intuition, compassion, and the ability to surrender to the divine. People with a strong 12th house may be drawn to meditation, healing, prayer, charity, and selfless service. When the 12th house is weak or afflicted, a person may struggle with loneliness, escapism, addictions, confusions, anxiety, or feeling lost and disconnected. If Jupiter is placed in this house, it can bring spiritual blessings and a love for higher knowledge, but also the possibility of hidden expenditures. If Moon is placed in this house, it shows heightened intuition, but this can also lead to emotional burdens, sensitivity, or a feeling of isolation. If Mercury is placed in this house, a strong intuition may exist, but the mind could be preoccupied with hidden thoughts, overthinking, or secretive matters. If Venus is placed in this house, it may indicate a love for spirituality, foreign cultures, or hidden pleasures, and also could involve emotional sacrifices or hidden affairs. Ultimately, the 12th house represents moksha, spiritual liberation. It asks, what are you ready to release? What are you willing to surrender so that your soul can be free? And with that, we complete the journey through all the 12 houses of the Vedic Kundali. Thank you for watching Astro Grahalogy. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. In the upcoming chapters of this series, we will go deeper and learn how each planet and different zodiac signs behave in these houses so that you can start reading charts in a practical and intuitive way. See you in the next video. Stay blessed, stay cosmic.